Yay. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Daily Destiny with Jessie V. I am Jessie Christensen, and I am really excited to start this new series called The Promise of Christmas. And I decided to do this series just as much for myself than anybody else. And here's why. I found myself the past couple holiday seasons just finding that longing for something more than what the gifts could give me or the holiday lights or even the Hallmark movies. I wanted something more. And so sometimes I found that in the midst of Christmas, I needed more Christmas. And here's what I mean by that. In the midst of our endless to-do lists, our endless gifts, lists of gifts that we need to buy, in traffic, our parties, in the midst of our Christmas chaos, sometimes we find ourselves just needing more of Jesus. And so with that, my hope for the next 4 weeks is to bring encouragement in some practical ways that we can reflect on the miracle of Christ's birth and experience the true meaning of Christmas and the gift that all our hearts long for, and that is Jesus. And so, to give you guys a little bit of background, we just started what we call the Advent season. And so some of you may have heard of the Advent season before, maybe some are a little unfamiliar, but Advent is a season that it's 4 weeks long. It's starting closest to November 30th, around there, and it goes until Christmas Eve. And so this year, Advent actually started last Sunday, the 27th, and it'll go till Christmas Eve this year, which is a Saturday. And so Advent comes from a Latin word that means the coming or arrival. And so every year during Advent season, it gives us the opportunity to truly prepare our hearts for the arrival and prepare our hearts for the gift of Christmas, which is Jesus. So we are in the Advent season. It started Sunday. And also sometimes there's themes that go with the Advent season, and they do vary, but the most commonly observed are the themes of hope, joy, peace, and love. And so each week during the series, I am going to talk a little bit about each of those themes. And the first week is the promise of Christmas, which is a lifetime of hope. And so I got to start with a little bit of bad news. The bad news is that each of us has entered the world with a sin nature in need of a Savior. But so how can we have hope for a lifetime? Because the good news is that God entered the world to take away our sin, and Christmas remembers the day and the way that God saved us from ourselves. And so I believe that people have wondered what the image of God is, and I don't believe that mankind ever imagined that God would enter the world as an infant. I mean, he is God. He could have come down as a fierce warrior, or I don't know, a ball of fire or something, but he chose to come into the world as a baby. And so why the hassle to come into the world, into the fallen world, as a baby? And this is what I believe, because he wants us to know that he gets us. He wants us to know that he understands us and that he has faced what we have faced in this world. So Jesus was not just a godly baby that grew up to be a godly man. Jesus was actually God. And God took on our image in the hopes that we would see his image, which is the image of God. And so it says in Matthew 1:23 that the virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. And so the presents of Christmas are nice. I mean, who doesn't like a new pair of shoes or a new purse? I mean, those are all nice. But I believe that the presence, the gift of everlasting presence with God, can be life-changing. And so did you know that everywhere we go or where we are, that God is still with us today. And I think that we all are in need of this message, especially during this season when it can get really chaotic, and especially in the anxious times that we find our country in and our world in. So to know the message that God is still with us today. And so we may lose our tempers because we're human. And so we might lose our tempers in traffic or whatever we find ourselves in this season, but we will never lose our hope. And here's why. Max Lucado said it best. He said this: the manger invites us, even dares us to believe that the best is yet to be. So hope in Jesus is not just wishful thinking. It is unshakable confidence that God can be trusted. And hope in Jesus is the belief that God is always at work for our good. And so here, I always want to end with a little bit of something practical that we can do during this Advent season. And so the next couple days, I want to encourage all of us to practice training our heart to seek the light of Jesus. So I want you to notice all the lights around you today. So whether you're just waking up maybe and you're seeing the sunrise, or all the holiday lights that are up, or even the lights in your refrigerator when you open it, to notice all the lights around you. And even when you're stuck in traffic, because that's going to happen this time of year, when you look at even the brake lights in front of you, may that remind you and prompt you about the promise of the light and the hope in Jesus, that he is with us. So try to find the light in every moment today and this season. And so remember that you have the promise of Christmas, which is hope for a lifetime. So thank you guys for joining me this morning. Like I said, I'm just really excited about this series, just as much as for myself, just to really seek out Jesus during this season. And I will continue the theme of hope on Friday. And then, like I said, each week will be a different theme of Advent. And so I hope you guys will join me on Friday. Thank you guys who are up early this morning. Cammie, good morning. Leanna, absolutely, God with us. Yes, he is. Good morning, Stephanie. June Brockmeyer, amen. So thank you guys for joining me this morning. I hope I'll see you Friday. Have a great day. Remember that you are worthy, you are beautiful, and you are strong. And you have the promise of Christmas, which is hope for a lifetime. So I will see you guys on Friday. All right, bye-bye.